Hi everybody, and welcome to Wow Wednesday Stamp with Tracy. Thank you for joining me this evening. Tonight I want to make a gift card holder, and this is an awesome card that a friend of mine, Cheryl Possident, had brought to a recent event I was at, and we had a swap, and everyone just fell in love with it. Well, I had to find out how to make it. So she had told me that she watched a video from Buckeye Inklings, and her name, I believe, is Chris Slogar, I think is how you say it. And she made this gift card holder, and this gift card holder has this cute little shopping bag in it. So I wanted to try and reproduce it for you tonight. Now, I did change the stamp set and a few things on it that I made my own, but special thanks to Buckeye Inkling for sharing a video so I could learn how to make this card. So it's an awesome little card, and it has a belly band to help keep it closed. But inside, when you open it up, is this cute little gift card holder that is its own little shopping bag. And I absolutely think it is just precious. So I wanted to make it today, and we're going to be using the Leaves of Holly stamp set as well as the Holly Berry dies. Now you can get this Holly Leaves bundle. It's item number 159608, and it is in the current mini catalog. Well, I call it mini catalog, but it's our July to December catalog. And it's on page 25. Again, it's called the Holly and Leaves Bundle, item number 159608, and it sells for $51.25. Well, you know, right now we have celebration going on. So if you spend $50, you get to pick out a free gift. Well, I chose, when I bought my bundle, to pick the silver and gold 6x6 specialty paper. So this has 24 sheets in it. There's 12 gold and 12 silver, and then each have 6 of the circles and 6 of the stripes, line stripes. See if you can see the difference. One's silver and one's gold. I know it's pretty hard to tell on here. So we are going to be using that tonight in making the card. And as I stated, because we're in celebration and I spent over $50 on my order, I was able to pick out a free celebration item. Now, we do have our celebration catalog out there, as well as this new mini that started in the beginning of July. So if you don't have a catalog and you need one, please make sure to reach out to me. So here is the stamp set, Leaves of Holly, and it actually has gorgeous leaves, some holly berries, and some beautiful Christmas sayings. Now, I think this is great for any time of year. I don't think it has to just be for Christmas. I think these leaves work great as other kind of leaves as well, and you could be definitely doing something in the autumn time or, you know, winter time or something with them as well. So we will be using that. And we will be using the Holly Berry dies. Now in this, I used this die here to cut out something, and this die here, and then of course my leaf dies, my holly dies, and some of this, I'll call it like fern. So I also used tonight the scalloped contour dies. And I used this one right here, and that's the one that will have the saying on the inside, and I will show you that when we get to that point in the video. And I also used our in color glimmer paper. So this is the 2224 in color pack of glimmer paper, and it has 20 sheets in it, and the colors are our current 22 to 24 in colors. So this is the let me see the names of these, make sure I get them right. Parakeet Party, and you can see it also has like an ombre look, so it goes from like light to dark, and this is what I'm using in this card tonight. And then here's the Sweet Sorbet and the Tahitian Tide, Starry Sky, and get to it, Orchid Oasis. So absolutely gorgeous in colors. Glimmer paper, which I absolutely love, and I love the ombre look to it as well. So I did use a little bit of that just as a glitter accent behind my leaves. So we're going to start out tonight's video, and I know this is going to be a little bit longer than usual, and I apologize about that, but I think it's well worth the time to learn how to make this really cute little gift card holder. So we're going to start out with the inside bag part is what we're going to make first. Okay. So we have a piece of designer series paper for the shopping bag, and it's 4 inches by 9 1/4 inches. And then we have to score it. So I'll bring in my scoring tool here. And I'm going to be a little bit of an angle so that you can see as much as possible. So when scoring this, we're going to score it at first 1/2 inch. First, let me get my scoring tool in the right place here. I don't want to cut it accidentally. So let me reset this paper at 1/2 inch. Score. And then we're going to come over to 1 inch. And score again. Sorry, I'm working on an angle here and I'm moving my paper when I don't really want to. So then there's their inch. Now this should be a little bit easier from here on out. I have 4 1/2 inches, 5 inches, 5 1/2 inches. And then I come all the way over to 9 inches. Okay. Then I have this piece of paper that we just scored, and this is where I did my last 9 inches. I'm going to turn it so that is at the top, that little 1/4 inch that I just scored. So I'm turning my paper from scoring this way all the way across and turning it so that my last score is now at the top. And I'm going to score at 1 inch. And then at 3 1/2 inch. Okay, so then we want to take and make sure that we have all of our folds really folded nicely. So I'm going to use my bone folder, and I know this shakes the table a little. My setup is a little bit different in my stamp room now because I have more company coming that's going to be using the room. So when I shake my little table, my camera's on the same table instead of being off to the side, and it tends to shake more this way. So I do apologize about that in advance. So I'm scoring, actually burnishing all my score lines, and I'm going to do them both ways. This is the other side of the paper, which is really pretty too. And then I'm just going to come back and with my fingers score all these back the other way, just breaking that fiber down so the paper moves a little bit better since I'm folding on both sides of the score. Hope that makes sense to you. So I have this one too. Then I'll turn to the other side where I did the long ones and do the same thing. Now we're going to do a little bit of cutting. So I have my 1 inch at the top, my little 9-inch score with just 1/4 of an inch left of the paper over here. So I have my first score was at a 1/2 inch, and then my second score was at 1 inch. So I am going to come up to that inch and take off this corner tab on both ends. So I'm at the 1 inch score mark, which is the second one coming in. Okay, and I have those to cut away. Then I'm going to work in the middle here. So I have 3 score lines, and I'm actually going to cut up both of those and then cut that out completely. And same thing on the other side. Come up that score line and this score line and cut this whole tab away. And I want to make sure that I have the whole tab gone, otherwise it'll interfere with the way I'm folding when I go to put my bag together. Okay, and then same thing at the other end here. Now, with the paper that I'm using, it doesn't really matter the design, the direction it's going. So if you have a piece of designer series paper where you're actually, it's important to follow the design in a certain way, you want to make sure that you have it, you're cutting properly. This 1 inch tab is the actual top of your box. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. So this is the side I want. So right now I'm going to turn it over and go to the opposite side and do just a little bit of measuring. I want to come down from this 1 inch score line just 1/4 of an inch and make a little pencil mark. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. And make a little mark at 1/4 of an inch. Then I'm going to lay my ruler down from each of those dots and draw a little line. And I only need the line on this piece and this piece. And this is just going to help me to know where to make my holes. Okay. So now from this edge right here, I am going to come in and make a mark on my line at 1 inch and at 2.5. Same thing over here. I'm measuring from this line right here, my score line, and I'm coming in on my line and I'm making a mark at 1 inch and at 2.5. Then I'm going to use a hole punch, and you want to make sure that you have a hole punch that reaches in more than 1 inch, and you're going to punch holes in this. Now I'm actually using something a little bit thicker than just ribbon or thread, so I have a small little hole punch here, so I'm going to double punch it to make sure, let me see, I'm going to double punch it to make sure that I get it big enough for the type of twine I'm going to be putting in here. Now we have iridescent, I think it's called twine. It's in the new mini catalog as well, and that would work perfect. I think it's a great little handle for the bag, and that's what we're working on now, making the holes to put the handle through on the bag. And I had some that actually is silver that's retired, and that's what I'm going to use because I didn't get the new iridescent trim yet. So I am double punching my hole to make it a little bit bigger because it's thick. And I'm going to be using this cute twine So I'm going to turn it over now, and I'm going to go in the hole with each end. I cut this about 3.5 inches long, which was more than enough, I believe, for the size handles I want. So now that I got those through the holes, as I said, this is going to be my outside, which is why my handles are showing. I'm going to come back to the side, and I'm sorry about the shadows, and pull those out to the very edge of the twine showing at the hole. And then I'm going to take my tearing tape. I like to put that on my wrist when I'm working with it. And I'm going to tear that. I don't want to go outside my score lines. So I'm going to go right here and come over to here. So I'm covering that so it holds my little handles into place. And will also hold my tab down. So I'm going to take your pick tool now and pick up this paper off of here. And then I will fold down the sides, and that will hold the bag in place. Hold the handle in place, as well as hold that flap down. So there we have that. And there's our little handles. Now the rest of the tearing tape that we're going to add on here is just a few more pieces. We're going to use a piece on this little 1/4 inch piece out here. And then we're going to put it on right below this score line at the bottom. And there we have that. Okay. So now this piece here is going to be in a fold like this. So mountain, valley, mountain. Okay. And then the same thing's going to end up over here once we get this glued down. So the next thing we're going to do is adhere that piece over there. Okay, now we want to make sure that it is lined up correctly. And we bring this fold over. And then again, we have that fold. And I like at this point to take and burnish again to give myself a real nice, easy peasy bag. And there's our little bag. Now we are not going to take the tape off of here, because this is what we will use when we assemble it to the inside of our card. But this is our little gift bag now ready. Okay, so let's go ahead to the parts that we need to make the rest of the card. So I have a lot of my little pieces here. This is a piece of shaded spruce, and it is, some of this out of the way here. This is 4 1/4 by 11, and then it is scored at 3. So I put it in my score. And I scored it at 3 5/8, and then slid over to 8 7/8. And then I want to have a real nice fold on those. So then this is what the base of our card is going to be like. Excuse me 1 second. My phone is showing low battery, so I'm going to take a second here and shift things just a little bit to try to get the plug in it so that I don't lose you in the middle of the video. Sorry, give me just a second here. Trying not to disturb the camera too much. There we go. Move things back over here, and we should be good. Okay, so here is our card. So now we will add our designer series paper that's going to decorate the front with our Stampin' Seal. So I have a piece of designer series paper. Now this piece didn't matter the direction I was cutting because I'm using the polka dots, and that really doesn't matter. So I'm going to do this little flap first. Using my Stampin' Seal, and that'll give me a nice little edge all the way around it. And then the other side, same thing. And I'll have a little edge around this. So these two pieces, this designer series paper was 1 7/8 by 4, and this one was 3 3/8 by 4. So 1 7/8 by 4, 3 3/8 by 4. Okay, and then we have our inside. Now this, I chose to use the stripes. And this is a little something that I added. The instructions didn't have the designer series, any designer series paper on the inside, but I really liked it. So I'm going to place that right there. And this is the same size as the front. It's 1 7/8 by 4, but this one is only 3 by 4 because I'm going to have the bag here. So it's not matching the same size as what's on the front. Now I've always waited till after I had my bag in before I did this, so I'm hoping this still works out for me tonight. So I'm just giving myself a little dimension around the edges, and now we'll add our bag. So to add our bag, we're going to remove our top of our paper, and I'm going to try to get the same distance at the top and the bottom. So I'm trying to get this top and bottom centered, and then I'm going over to, I'm bringing up the fold, and once it's touching the edge here where the fold is, I'm going to bring it down, and then it's going to come back over, and I'm going to take off this piece on this side and do the same thing. Basically, it's already stuck on the front, but I'm going to bring over this fold. So now, when you open the card, there you have your gift bag. And I like to put a little bit of tissue in it. So I just take a little bit of tissue paper. This beautiful blue tissue paper comes from my Paper Pumpkins. And we'll insert that right down into the center of the bag. And that's where you could place a gift card or any other small little gift that you'd like to have in there. Isn't that cute? So then we have this piece here. So we will go ahead and stamp and decorate that. So I have the Joy and Peace and From Our House to Yours on the stamp. Now they're all different little stamps, so I lined them up. And I'm going to stamp those in Cherry Cobbler. And when you get photopolymer stamps, I know I've said this many times before, but before I use my photopolymer stamps, I always take an emery board. Now this has already been done, so I'm not actually going to do it, but I'm just going to show you. I always rub my emery board, and this is not a new emery board. It's a used one because I don't want it to be real rough. I want it to be a little rough, but not a lot. And then I take and I clean it on my Stampin' Scrub with my Stampin' Mist and make sure it's nice and clean. And that gets the film off, because a lot of times there's a coating that is still on those stamps when we receive them. And that takes it off and makes the images stamp much better, especially when you have solid stamps and you ink it up and you stamp and you see all this little white showing through. Well, if it's not intended to be made that way, sometimes it's because of the coating that was on that photopolymer stamp. So there's Joy and Peace From Our Home to Yours. Now I did experiment, make sure I had this set up right, and did stamp it on scrap paper and make a little bit of adjustments to try to get that centered as good as I could there. Now we have the two-step stamping in this set with the leaves. It's absolutely so pretty. So it's a two-step stamping, and I'm going to be using the Shaded Spruce. And I'm actually going to stamp the outline first in full strength of the ink. Again, that's Shaded Spruce. And I don't want to cover up any of my words. So I like the outline first, okay, as I stated before. Then I come back with my solid piece, okay, and I'm going to stamp that. I'm sorry, I'm going to ink it up, but I'm going to stamp off first. So the reason for stamping off is so that I get rid of a bulk of the color. And now I'm going to line that up. And I like lining up the outside image to the lighter image. To me, this just works easier. So I am trying not to get my head in the camera and lining that up and lowering it on there. And then you can see the two-step stamping, two-tone of the color. See how the lighter color fits back in there? So I absolutely love that. And you could use two-color ink if you wanted to, but I decided to just stamp off with the same color. To me, that made it just as easy. So now we're going to add a little bit of bling to the inside. And here's my other one that I'm going to use as my sample here. So we're going to use the little holly berries cut out. And then they have an outline for the berries. And I actually, if I can pick it up, where's my tweezers? Might be easier to use them. I had a piece of red foil, foil paper. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I decided to go ahead and use that. And I absolutely think it makes a really cute little layer on top of it. Now you could use a little bit of a darker color, a lighter color for your berries. And I'm just going to use my liquid glue, and not a lot of it. Don't need much at all. Just enough to hold it into place. And line this up on here. This Goes right to the edge. And since I have my liquid glue, I have the opportunity to slide it just a little bit and then press to adhere it. Okay, so that will be going on here. And then we have some ferns that we're going to put on as well. This will be the outside of the card. And then we're going to put some ferns on the inside. Okay, now I'm not going to adhere this just yet because I want to get these laid down into place first. And again, using my liquid glue, with just a little bit needed on there, not much at all. And I'll come in with this one here. And then, actually I wanted that more to the outside. So since it is liquid glue, I can quickly move that as long as I didn't wait too long. I wanted my one with my glimmer paper in the center. Just a little bit of glue on that one. And we'll bring that one in the center here. And then a smaller one that I have, because those little ferns are in 2 different sizes for the die cuts. And bringing that off to the side here. Then we'll add our glue to the back of our holly berries. And we'll put that down right on top. I got glue on my finger, so it's coming right back off with me. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and add that to the center of our card on the inside. So here is our card, and I'm going to come over and center it over between the edge of the bag and my score line over here, and center from top to bottom as well. So there is the card. So now we need to make the belly band to go around it. Okay, so I have a piece of 1.5 inch by 11 inches. And the way that I like to do this is I like to set it down on here and center it and then fold it in. And then once I have it folded, use my little bone folder there, I'm going to pull it back just about an 1/8 of an inch, because we want to make sure that we have room. So then I can bring this piece on and burnish that. And now we have our belly band. Okay? So I'm going to take my tape again, and I'm going to use my tape and it's important to know what you're going to be decorating with for how much tape that you're going to be using. You don't want to have so much tape sticking out. Now I know the piece I'm using is not going to go any wider than this, so I'm not making my tape any wider. And I am putting on 3 pieces because I want to make sure that this is really secure. Okay, so now let's just make sure it slides on and off nicely. So there it goes off, and to put it on, so that's fine. You don't want it so loose that it falls off, but you don't want it too tight. And now this is because I have that thicker twine that I'm using on the inside, but if you used a flat ribbon, you could get this almost flat like a regular card. So now we'll decorate this part. Okay, So we're going to decorate our belly band. First thing I want to do is add my ribbon to it. So I have a piece of ribbon that I cut about 11 inches as well. And I'm going to bring that in just to double check it, make sure I have it okay. And it's going to have a little gap in it, but that's perfectly fine because it's going to be hidden by the design pieces that I have on the front here. So again, I want to get it nice and centered. And I'm going to bring this piece in centered right about here. And then bring this piece and there we have that. Now this is going to go over top of it, which is why I didn't have to worry about it coming all the way around. But I want to stamp on this first. I want to do my saying for the front, which I believe we will use Christmas wishes. This set has Christmas wishes as well as it has season's greetings. It has from our home to yours, to friends near and far. And then of course it has the joy and peace. So lay my Christmas wishes down and get it nice and straight. And go this way on here. Actually, I have my little pad underneath of here that has lines on it. So I'm going to actually line this up to make sure that I've got it nice and straight. So I like to do that on some lined paper. And I'm going to ink that up with my cherry cobbler. And again, I did already clean this for the first time I used it. And I want to get this pretty much in the center, left to right, and top to bottom. It's a little bit there. Something was on my stamp. It was a little piece of paper on there, so I will fix that with a marker when we're all said and done here. Excuse me. So we've got that. Now we're going to go ahead and take off our other papers. Excuse me. And we will put this on here. And this is about, this part right here is about the same height as this 1.5 inch belly band. So we sort of do want that more centered as we slide that on the front of our card, and the Christmas wishes is pretty centered. So I did forget to put this on, so we need to do that. I wanted to fill this in with another piece of the glimmer paper that I cut out with that. That's going to be a little bit more difficult because I forgot to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my liquid glue, and I'm going to cover some parts of this and line this up underneath of here. Get that completely lined up underneath of there. Which wasn't too difficult. And then I'll just come in this way here and add my glue. Just a very little bit, the liquid glue. Excuse me. And then that'll stick down on that one there. So I should have glued that on the back of this nice little tag part here before I adhered it to that. And then I have this again cut out of the glimmer paper, So this is a solid piece, and this is the lined outline. And again, I'm just going to add my liquid glue a little bit at a time here, just over a little bit, and holding it in the center so that I don't get the glue all over my fingers, and use a little bit coming down the tab there. And then again, using my tweezers, go ahead and line this up right on top of this. And using liquid glue, you have the chance to slide things to make sure you get it lined up, which is why I love using my liquid glue for this. It would also work great with our adhesive sheets, putting the adhesive sheets on the back. So then I'm going to have this coming off of here. So I just need to place some glue right here. I don't want to cover up any of my words. And oops, moved on me. And then I need my fern pieces. I believe I had 3 of them cut out. Again, using the glimmer paper and the shaded spruce. So I'm just going to add, I want this to be my center, the glimmer paper here. And it is going to be coming off the bottom, so I didn't glue it all the way down. And then sorry, this is longer than I expect, longer than my normal ones, but I thought it was worth it with this little gorgeous gift card holder. So I thought we'd end up being a little bit longer than usual tonight, but I think it's well worth it. I hope you do too. So I don't want to cover up that word wishes, so we'll just have it there like that. And I still can play with that and move it a little bit since it was liquid glue. So there's our belly band. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's Well Wednesday. Don't forget, for our Well Wednesdays, you have to remember to like and comment on the video so you have a chance to win this great little gift card holder. I call it a shopping bag gift card holder. Okay, so make sure you remember to like and comment for your chance to win. And don't forget, if you're interested in getting that bundle is called the Holly Leaves Bundle, and the item number is 159608, and it's $51.25. And you get to choose a free celebration item because you've spent over $50. Now, there also is a full suite of that item, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Has some beautiful designer series paper in it, and it has some woven ribbon, and it has these great little wood elements, and you can color those to make some great little holly berries. And this designer series paper is absolutely gorgeous. And now, after having this bundle and seeing some of the cards made, I have to go back and order that. But if you wanted to order the whole suite and get the bundle as well as the ribbon, the elements, and the designer series paper, that's only $79.25, and that's item number 159612. And then the glimmer paper that I used from the 2224 in colors is in the annual catalog, and that's item number 159246, and that sells for a pack of 24 sheets, I believe, in that, and it's $12. Now, I don't know for sure. I should probably double check that because it might be more than 20 sheets. Let me grab that real quick and I will check. it is 20 sheets. So it is 20 sheets. So it's probably 4 sheets of each of the 5 in colors. So again, here is this month's host code. I'd appreciate it if you place an order going directly to my store. I will have the link to go shopping, and the link will have this bundle as well as the hostess link by itself. So if you wanted to order the bundle, you just click the link that has the hostess link and the product with it. And if you wanted to order something else, maybe not get this bundle, but place another order, just hit the hostess code link. If your order's over 150, don't use my host code. You can still use the link, but then just make sure to remove the host code. And you'll get your own Stampin' rewards if your order's over 150. And it's a great time to do that with it being Celebration. So I appreciate any orders that come in under 150 using my July host code. So thanks again for joining Stamp with Tracey for today's Well Wednesday. Don't forget to both like and comment so you have a chance to win this really pretty gift card shopping bag holder. Thanks again, everyone, for joining me tonight, and happy stamping. Good night.